Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everybody. This is Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio, and it is Thursday, January 21st, 5:30 in the morning, Calgary, Alberta time. And I'm so happy to be here just to share some information, and again with everybody who's listening. And thank you for listening, and I really appreciate the support. I have so many friends out there who have just been so supportive, and it just makes me want to just keep on doing this, you know. And I do appreciate it so much. And this is One Child Abuse Survivor to Another, and today's topic is a continuation of child sexual abuse, just from some information I found on Little Warriors, and that is its head office is in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, which is just about 3 hours north of Calgary, where I live. And I just hadn't really heard too much about Little Warriors. I knew it had something to do with children, but I didn't know it was necessarily related to child sexual abuse or child abuse. So I saw this in my research, and it's a great website. There's lots of information there. I don't know how current it's kept up, but just the information that's there, they have gone through some work to put some good information there, and so it's you can look at that yourself at www.littlewarriors.ca. So I'll be reading from that, and I also have other resources and stuff, and we're just going to continue on through the 7 steps of prevention for child sexual abuse, and they seem really good, and we're on step 5 today, make a plan. And so we'll continue with that. I just wanted to mention, just in case no one actually heard this before, but there was a petition, and it's still going on, a petition to sign that was brought to my attention, and it's for to add cyberstalking to restraining orders. And you can find this petition. This is at www.gopetition.com. And because internet stalking is a crime, and internet harassment or cyberstalking is the new wave of stalking and harassment, and it's a real problem for people who are in domestic violence, domestic abuse situations. You could save a life by signing this petition to add cyberstalking to restraining orders. And I signed it because I know I would not want to be a victim of cyberstalking, and I would like to see laws in place to, for public safety. And I just think it's so important. So it only takes a few seconds to sign it, and it's so worth it. And I just thought I'd mention that again. And so we'll just get right into today's topic. We have 15 minutes. You're more than welcome to phone in. This is a blogtalkradio.com live internet streaming radio show. And so I do have a guest call-in number, and you're welcome to phone 917-889-3736. It is only a 15-minute show for Monday through Friday in the mornings, just because I have to work, So I have to go out and make that money. So I just kept the show really short so that I can do it before I have to go to work. And I do have a half-hour shows in the evening and on Sunday. So I welcome you to phone in, though. If you're a survivor and you'd like to share your story of child abuse, adult survivor issues, please do. And if you have some topic-related information or resources that you think might benefit listeners, please do, because all information is very helpful, especially when it has to do with healing and really getting some good resources out to people. That's what this show is about. So that's what I'm doing on Blog Talk Radio. Just as I'm searching out my own information, I realized that there was so much information out there and that nobody's really talking about it. Maybe they are. I just haven't run into them. And so I thought, hey, why not? This is a good opportunity just to spread some awareness and prevention, and to help other adult survivors of child abuse to realize that they're not alone, and that and just to encourage everyone to make sure that you get the help that you need, the professional help. Because I'm not a counselor. I always say this on my shows because it's so important. I'm not a counselor, or I can't give any legal advice. I'm not a professional by any means. I just am one person who just wants to do blogtalkradio.com just to share information that I find and be as responsible as I can possibly be with this information, because I know myself, I'm searching out my own healing, and I want good information myself. So that's why I do try to be very particular about what information I am sharing, and also very sensitive to the nature of it. So we'll continue on here with Little Warriors about child sexual abuse, and this is step 5. Yesterday we went over stay alert, and also talking with your child, and how to talk to your child about sexual abuse. and the fact that it does occur and can occur, and there are ways to do that. So we covered that yesterday, and that website's really good for parenting tips on how to talk to your children. It's worth checking out if you're a parent and you're kind of not sure how to go about, because it is important. You do want to do that properly when you actually begin to start to educate your child regarding the issue of child sexual predators, internet safety, and all of this. They have parenting tips on a bunch of websites that I saw for parents on how to talk to their kids about these very, very vital topics, because this is a real problem today. We see it in the news; it's everywhere, and this is not just this is just not something that can be ignored. You know what I mean? It's in the news, it's in our face, and we really can't turn a blind eye to it, especially if you're a parent. I don't have any children, but I tell you, I'm looking out for everyone else, because you want to make sure that you know what's going on in your child's life. It's so important. So, internet safety is very important. Knowing where your child is, who is with your child during the day. They had tips like drop in on the child's caregivers, like whoever the child is with during the day, or at night. Make sure that you drop in, do surprise checks. Really, you want to look out for your child. It's so important. Step 5: make a plan. And you can read that right from their website, www.littlewarriors.ca. It says, learn where to go, whom to call, and how to react. It says, don't overreact. If a child breaks an arm or runs a high fever, you know to stay calm and where to seek help, because you've mentally prepared yourself. Reacting to child sexual abuse is the same. Your reactions have a powerful influence on vulnerable children. So it says, when you react to disclose with anger or belief, to disclosure. When you react to disclosure with anger or belief, the response is often, they have your A, the child shuts down. B, the child changes his or her story in the face of your anger and disbelief, when in fact abuse is actually occurring. And C, the child changes the account around your questions, so future tellings appear to be coached. This can be very harmful if the case goes to court. And D, the child feels even guiltier. So this is why it says very few reported incidents are false, because they did do some studies and they realized that it's so rare for a child to actually disclose that they are sexually abused. It's just not something they do. They've found that out through studies and stuff. I don't have those in front of me. I know just looking through material, the experts are talking about that. So I'm just kind of going with what I saw there. But anyway, I guess it's really important. I have heard this in cases. I've actually read in the paper where the children were coached, or that they thought the children were being coached. And that can be really harmful if the case goes to court, because there is a certain way to handle yourself when a child tells you they've been abused. And that's why it's so important. Education is the key, because if it does go to court, and chances are it will, you don't want to ruin that case for that child, right? And also you don't want to just make it worse, by overreacting or acting in a certain manner. This is what they're telling us, right? So I'm just like you. And so I need to know this stuff too, right? So it's so important that we get the proper knowledge, and that's why I'm just spreading these resources out to you, because just in case you had time and you wanted to look through there, you never know when a child's going to tell you they've been abused or sexually abused, right? You never know when that's going to happen in your life. It's very important to be aware of these things, right? Because they do happen. It's so sad. You look at the statistics in the paper, even just looking in the paper and different websites that are posting issues of child abuse, you can tell it's an epidemic. It's a serious epidemic, and it really, I'm just here to say it has to stop. And if a child does tell you they're being abused, there are certain things you have to do properly, just for that child, right? Just to make sure that child is treated, with respect and dignity, and gets and that you do phone 911, or you want to make a phone call. If a child tells you they've been abused or sexually abused, the only right thing to do is to not keep it to yourself. You need to talk to someone, even if that's just a crisis line or something, just to get some information, because if you make a phone call, you could save that child's life. Look at all the kids that are dying at the hands of caregivers and parents. That's why, I always say, I don't. I know that there are children that are taken away from their homes, in error, and this is something that happens, and it's really sad. But what's even sadder is the majority of them are dying in their homes under the hands of their abusive parents, and so the majority rules to me. I think more children are being killed and maimed and abused and ruined psychologically, spiritually, mentally, and physically by abusive caregivers than there are that are being removed from homes. And it's unfortunate because I know that they can have things. It's not a perfect world, unfortunately. But that's another show, right? That's someone else's show. My show is abuse awareness and prevention. So I'm not here to try to convince you not to make a phone call and not to step in for that child. I'm here to convince you that, well, not to convince you, but to share information that I think is so vital if you suspect a child is being abused. If it's just that we just have a responsibility to these children, so that's why I'm doing what I do. And it's not because I don't care that children are being removed from good homes, because that I do care, right? I mean, obviously I care about children. I was a child, and I didn't want to be removed from my home either. And so I understand. I completely get that. But my thing, I really want to just talk about the fact that abuse is going on. It's horrific. It's a fact. And it's absolutely horrific what's going on with children every day, today, right now, as I speak on this Blog Talk Radio program. Children are suffering, and it bothers me. So I'm more apt to stick to this side of it and leave that up to the lawmakers and other people to talk about, because that's their topic. That's their passion. My passion is to prevent child abuse, as I know what it's like to be battered. I know what it's like to be sexually abused, emotionally abused, in every way. So I'm here fighting for children who are in this situation, and to be a voice for those who were killed and who don't have a voice anymore. So that's my thing, and I just appreciate everyone. So I know there's so many bad and wrong things going on in this world. So if your child was taken away wrongly, I am so sorry about that. And if you're a parent that's abusing your child, please stop. And see, this is just the issue. We all need to really wake up and smell the coffee. This world, we do need to make changes, and I just believe it's going to have to be through positive change. It can't go anywhere with it negatively, right? We have about 2 minutes left. I'll just go through offer support. It says, think through your response before you suspect abuse. You'll be able to respond in a more supportive manner. It says, believe the child and make sure the child knows it. It says, thank the child for telling you and praise the child's courage. Encourage the child to talk, but don't ask leading questions about details. Asking about details can alter the child's memory of events. If you must ask questions to keep the child talking, ask open-ended questions like what happened next, for instance. Seek the help of a professional who is trained to interview the child about sexual abuse. Professional guidance could be critical to the child's healing and to any criminal prosecution. Assure the child that it's your responsibility to protect him or her, and that you'll do all you can. And also report or take action in all cases of suspected abuse, both inside and outside the immediate family. And it says, don't panic. Sexually abused children who receive support and psychological help can and do heal. So this is their what they had to say about that. Child sexual abuse is a crime, it says. Step 6 is act on suspicions. So that's we'll go over that tomorrow morning, 5:30, same time. I have about a minute left. And yeah, they were saying if you do suspect, you do see child abuse or you suspect child abuse, keep a written record of it. That was some other advice, was to actually write down details and make sure it's very detail oriented for the future reference if it goes to court, which it probably will, and just to be very detailed and not use your own words, but just use the child's words. Well, everyone, I just thank you so much for tuning in. I've got some resources here. We have Leila Albert. She's a friend of mine, and she's also an advocate for child sexual abuse. She has her own website, www.myspace.com/restore children. That's Leila Albert, and she's taking criminal justice, and she turned in a child sexual predator. And I mean, I'm telling you, this lady, she's on it, and she's a good friend of mine. Please check her website out, www.myspace.com/restore children. And also the Survivor Manual, www.survivormanual.com. It's run by the Angela Shelton Foundation, and this is just such a great website for survivors, and I would just highly recommend it. Lots of resources, educational resources, crisis support, survivor networks, coalitions, advocacy centers, survivor and supporters, blogs. You do want to check that out, the Survivor Manual. www.survivormanual.com. We are Adult Survivors of Child Abuse and Neglect by E. Diane Champay, www.wearesurvivors.org. Resources, adult survivor news stories, survivors learning to feel safe. This is such a great information. And Dream Catchers for Abused Children. I'm a volunteer.